Welcome to the chosen path. If you've ever felt pushed, tested, or trapped by rules that don't make sense, know this right away. That pressure is not accidental. It's the way systems protect themselves. Governments, companies, social circles, all of them learn how to keep the same patterns running, and those patterns are designed to tame the few people who could break them. You feel more friction than most because you are one of those people who doesn't fit the pattern. That is not your fault. It is the signal of a bigger calling. Most of the world was built to make obedience easy and dissent costly. Fear is the quiet engine that keeps it running. Fear of failing, fear of being judged, fear of losing what you have. When enough people are afraid, the system doesn't need to raise a hand. It simply whispers, and the crowd does the rest. But you were not made for whispering. Your courage is not noise for the sake of attention. It is a steady, inner knowing that refuses to let fear decide your life. Where other people stop and watch, you move. Where other people choose the safe path, you see the path that actually leads somewhere. The system prefers people who fit neatly into boxes. When everyone behaves the same way, the machine can predict, control, and keep going without questioning. You weren't built to be predictable. You were built to disrupt the pattern. That difference makes those in charge uneasy. They don't know how to hold someone who refuses to conform. That's why you see rules aimed at making you smaller, and why polite pressure tries to nudge you back into line. Those small, polite controls, the gossip, the advice, the unwritten rules, are powerful because they hide their intent behind normalcy. You won't always meet resistance that shouts. Often the pushback is quiet, dressed up as how we've always done things. Sometimes it's a policy change that looks harmless on paper but tightens the space where truth can be spoken. Sometimes it's the slow freezing out of people who were once friendly. These are the ways systems defend themselves, not with overt force, but with 1,000 small adjustments that add up. That's why your work matters. Noticing and resisting those small things chips away at the machine's ability to hold on. Being chosen to challenge the system does not mean you will be comfortable. It means you will be tested. Those tests are not random attacks. They are signposts showing the exact seams that hold the old order together. When an obstacle keeps showing up in the same place, it is telling you where your voice is needed most. When you meet those obstacles with steady courage, you begin to loosen the bolts that keep the system whole. There's a practical truth in all this. The smallest acts of integrity multiply. Saying a simple truth in a meeting, refusing to join a quiet rumor, protecting one person the crowd wants to shame. These are not tiny things. Each one is a quiet revolution. Each one stretches your courage and signals to others that there is another way to act. Over time, those small choices become a new pattern that other people can follow. You don't need a crowd to begin changing the world. You need clarity and persistence. You will not topple everything in a day, but when you act from a place of real conviction, your movement gains weight. Your presence changes rooms, conversations, and expectations. The system will try to isolate you, to shame you, or to recast your courage as a problem. Don't let that silence you. Keep your circle real and small enough that honesty matters, but large enough to sustain you when the pressure grows. Remember this too: your silence is sometimes strategy, and other times it is surrender. Learn the difference. Choose silence when it protects the work you must do. Speak when staying quiet would allow injustice to continue. Your power comes from the rhythm of your choices. When to step forward and when to conserve energy so you can fight the next fight with a clearer mind. In the end, systems built by human hands cannot withstand sustained, clear, moral pressure. They crack under truth. They fail when enough people refuse to keep up the charade. You were not chosen to survive a handful of rules. You were chosen to change the rules so other people can stand taller, speak freer, and live truer. That calling won't make life easy, but it makes life meaningful. Walk forward with your head up. Notice the places where the system pushes hardest and meet that pressure with compassion and clarity. Keep your purpose close and your actions honest. When the world tries to tell you to shrink, let your presence expand instead. Your role is not to fight for attention, but to keep showing up and doing the small, brave work that makes lasting change. You are not chosen to fit in. You are chosen to break the mold, to rebuild, and to lead. Keep going. The path is hard because the place you're going to is worth it. You carry more than a name. You carry a mission. This wasn't handed to you as a trophy or an easy lane. It was placed on your shoulders because you were made to carry it. Being chosen doesn't mean comfort. It doesn't mean perks or a lighter load. It means responsibility, resistance, and a kind of work that most people will never understand. You were not anointed to be pampered. You were anointed to fight, to stand where others won't, and to carry burdens that sharpen you rather than break you. The weight you feel isn't punishment, it's training. The hard paths, the repeated tests, the moments that feel too heavy, those are not accidents. They train your mind, your heart, and your resolve. They teach you how to move with calm when chaos shows up. They teach you how to make steady choices when everyone around you panics. The more pressure the system places on you, the more it reveals what you're truly made of. That pressure doesn't weaken you. It tempers you. You were built to shoulder big things, to walk roads that make others turn back, and to keep going when the easy route would be more tempting. Here's something the system never wanted you to know. The parts of you they point to as broken or too much are actually the raw materials of your strength. The mistakes you were taught to hide, the scars you were told to be ashamed of, the ways you felt less than, those pieces are not flaws to be patched. They are tools to be used. When you stop hiding your edges and start turning them into skills, unpredictability becomes your advantage. A system that depends on predictability can't plan for you. It cannot put you in a box because your whole way of being refuses to fit the neat shapes it relies on. Every loss you've lived through, every failure you've survived, taught you something no comfortable life ever could. That kind of learning moves past theory and into wisdom. People who've always had it easy can admire resilience from the outside, but it's those who've been through the fire who actually know how to welcome the heat and use it. Your broken places have taught you how to rebuild smarter, how to pivot when plans collapse, and how to find new paths where old ones were blocked. That knowledge is rare. It's powerful. It makes you dangerous to structures that want predictable citizens, not resilient leaders. And then there's the truth: the system depends on believable lies. It paints success as a narrow list of achievements, money, status, approval. And it teaches people to chase the checklist like that's the point of life. But you were given eyes that see through those costumes. You were chosen because you can smell the emptiness behind the glitter. You see how hollow promises keep people busy while real things rot quietly in the background. When the mask slips, you don't flinch, you point to what's under it. That clarity makes you a threat, because a system that survives on illusions cannot survive being exposed. When you refuse to live by their script, two things happen. First, you free yourself. You stop trading your inner truth for someone else's comfort. You stop measuring worth by applause or by the number of people who nod along when you speak. Second, You become magnetic to others who are tired of pretending. They sense the freedom in you and want it, even if they don't know how to ask for it yet. That's when you begin to matter in the way the system fears most, as an example. Not loud or flashy, but real. Quiet, steady, impossible to ignore. Carrying this calling is not a path made for comfort, but it is a path wired for meaning. You will meet people who expect you to perform, to make them comfortable, or to conform for the sake of the group. You will encounter rules dressed as wisdom and kindness twisted into silence. Keep your heart soft in the right places, but let your backbone be iron when the pressure comes. You can be compassionate without becoming a doormat. You can forgive without forgetting what truth looks like. This balance, fierce and tender at once, is part of what makes you unstoppable. Remember, the things they call your weaknesses are the exact things that will dismantle their power. The ways you are told to hide your story are the ways you will teach others to stand. Your scars are maps, and your failures are chapters in the manual you are writing for those who follow. You weren't made to blend in. You were made to stand out, not for attention, but as proof that another way is possible. If this truth rings inside you, if the weight you carry suddenly feels like a purpose instead of a burden, then stay with it. This isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of a move. In the next piece, we'll go deeper. How to turn those so-called weaknesses into daily strengths. How to spot the soft lies the system uses to seduce people into silence. And the simple rituals you can practice every morning to keep your spirit sharp and your resolve steady. Keep watching if you want the practical steps that make this calling something you live, not just admire. You see what most people never see. The thinness of so-called power, the cheap shine of status, the way the world trades meaning for noise. While others chase applause and empty proof of success, you quietly hold a sharper view. You know that true strength isn't measured by titles or money. Real power begins the moment you know who you are and what you were called to do, and you refuse to let some system tell you otherwise. That clarity is dangerous to them. Systems survive by convincing people that the shiny things are the point. They teach a version of success that's easy to sell: chase wealth, chase status, follow the script. Most people fall neatly into that trap because it's simple and safe. You don't. You look past the costume and see the hollow place behind it. You're not moved by trends or shortcuts. You see the map they hide, and you refuse to travel the route everyone else takes. That's why you don't fit. That's why you don't belong to the pattern. Their power is made of things that can be counted and traded: money, influence, titles. Those things seem mighty because they move people, open doors, and silence questions. But their strength is a human kind of strength, limited, fragile, conditional. It can be taken away, corrupted, or worn out. Your power is not the same. It comes from something deeper than what money can buy or what reputations can hold. Your power roots in purpose, in a calling that doesn't wobble when seasons change, that makes you hard to bargain with and impossible to buy. Being connected to something larger than the system doesn't mean you show off or preach. It means your ground doesn't shake when they try to shake it. They test you with threats and distractions because that's the way their tools work. They want you to trade your truth for comfort, to exchange your edge for ease. But you were given a kind of strength that can't be erased by paperwork, by social pressure, or by temporary gain. Their loudness is temporary, your foundation is not. And there is a quiet irony in all of this. The very things they brag about, control, wealth, structure, are the holes you learn to walk through. Their confidence in those tools blinds them to their own weak points. When they lock doors, you find the cracks. When they measure influence by followers or funds, you measure influence by who stands taller because of you. When they try to scare people into silence, you learn to turn that fear into fuel. Every move they make to tighten the net gives you clues about where it will break. You can use their strengths against them in small, steady ways. Their rules assume people will obey because the price of disobedience looks high. So you move where obedience is expected, and you act with a kind of stubborn clarity that confounds those who think in checklists. You speak truths that make the comfortable squirm. You refuse deals that demand your soul. You show up in places they thought only their power could reach. And when you do, you change the map. This isn't about clever tricks or playing by their rules in reverse. It's about seeing the truth behind what they call strength and refusing to trade your soul for it. It's about using your insight to find the places where their confidence is a bluff, and then choosing grace, honesty, and courage instead of being drawn into their game. Their money cannot buy conviction. Their influence cannot buy integrity. Your life is proof of that. Make no mistake, being chosen does not mean being safe. The path you walk will test you. There will be times when their systems press hard, when you'll be tempted to take the easy exchange. Comfort for courage, soothing for truth. Stand steady. Your gift is not comfort, it's resilience. You were never promised a soft road. You were promised meaning that outlives applause. As you keep going, remember this: your strength hums quietly, and that quiet is more powerful than noise. People who only know the system feel the ground shift when you pass, and they don't always know why. That's okay. You don't need them to approve. Your work is bigger than approval. It's about changing what counts. If this landed with you, if it lit a small fire or opened a door inside you, stay close. In the next video, we'll get practical. How to turn that sharper view into daily habits that keep your spirit steady. How to spot the system's subtle lies before they sink in, and the exact mindset shift that makes your power unshakable. Subscribe so you don't miss it, and bring your questions. The next piece will give you tools you can use tomorrow. Keep walking. The path only gets clearer from here. What I'm about to say will change the way you think about risk, comfort, and why you were put here. The world will tell you to play safe, to sit small, to protect what you have. That story is a lie designed to keep you in line. You weren't chosen for comfort. You weren't chosen to hide in the shadows while life passes by. You were chosen to move where it's risky, to stand where others crouch, and to make a difference that lasts. Safety sounds nice on paper. It sounds peaceful and sensible. But safety is a slow kind of death when it's used as the reason to never try. The system, the institutions, traditions, and people who profit from people staying average sells safety like a comfort blanket. Follow the rules, don't rock the boat, keep your head down, and we'll all get along. That is control dressed up as care. It's a trap. Real change has never come from staying safe. Real change asks for courage, for risk, for stepping into the unknown. That's exactly where you were called to go. You were not assigned this path for ease. You were given a load, not a throne. This calling is heavy because it's meant to be carried, not displayed. It's made to sharpen you, not soften you. Carrying it means you will face storms other people avoid. It means you'll meet tests that break ordinary people and build extraordinary ones. Those who were comfortable watching from the sidelines will not understand the weight you carry. They'll mistake your responsibility for suffering. But the truth is, struggle is the furnace that refines your purpose. The harder the trial, the clearer the steel. There's a role you play that the system can't train for. The machine prepares soldiers, people who are taught to obey, to repeat, to defend the status quo with force or money or influence. That's their plan: manufacture compliance and reward the compliant. But you are not a soldier for the system. You are a prophet on the battlefield. While they polish their armor and sharpen their weapons, you show up with a voice. You unsettle their script not with violence but with truth. A sharp word, a simple question, a story told at the right time. These are the things that make their armor look hollow. You don't need to swing a sword to change a course. Sometimes the right sentence does more than an army. People who play it safe think staying quiet keeps them safe. But silence is often a choice to hide rather than a choice of wisdom. When the system mistakes your silence for weakness, it underestimates you. You were quiet not because you were defeated, but because you were learning, watching, and preparing. You saved your strength for the moment that truly mattered. Then, when you act, your action is strategic and unstoppable. Their laughter at your quiet becomes their recognition of your power. Danger is the proving ground. Where others retreat at the scent of risk, you press forward because this is where the real work happens. The system builds fences around risk, so most people will stay inside the comfortable path. You are called to cross the fence. You know there is a difference between reckless danger and necessary risk. The latter is the place of growth. There your faith, your courage, and your skill meet and make something new. You were not chosen to play small, so other people could sleep easier. You were chosen to wake up the world. Facing the system will reveal its fear. The louder the pushback you get, the more you should smell your effect on them. Opposition is not always a sign you've failed. Often it's the clearest proof you are doing something that matters. When they move to silence you, to discredit you, or to distract you, they are showing where the cracks are. Honor that. Don't waste energy being bitter. Use their resistance as a map. The places they fight you most are often the places where change will matter most. The power they flaunt, money, status, titles, is temporary and fragile. It looks big because many people accept its rules without question. But you know the difference between what looks powerful and what actually lasts. Your strength comes from something deeper than boardrooms and bank accounts. It comes from a source beyond their balance sheets, from conviction, from purpose, from a clarity that won't be bought or bullied away. They can try to intimidate you with fines, gossip, or rules, but they cannot touch what anchors your soul. There will be moments when you feel the weight and wonder if it was fair, if the calling was worth the cost. In those moments, remember this: every heavy thing on your back is a badge of initiation. Those weights are the lessons that teach you how to hold true power without losing your heart. Your flaws, the parts of you that once felt like weaknesses, are actually the tools you need. The things you were told to hide, the scars, the mistakes, the imperfect edges, are what let you move where others cannot. They make you unpredictable to a system that expects conformity. You're not here to destroy for the sake of destruction. You are here to expose what is false and build what is true. When you speak plainly and act honestly, you strip away the costumes they rely on. The system's loudest defenses are often its shallowest. Use that to your advantage. Bring truth where deceit is comfortable. Bring compassion where cruelty is convenient. Bring stubborn consistency where they prefer distraction. Understand this clearly: being chosen does not grant impunity from pain. It grants purpose. You will pay a price. Sometimes in reputation, sometimes in relationships, sometimes in easy comforts. But the price is part of the gifted. It trains you to be durable, to carry what matters across seasons. You are being prepared for a role that doesn't end with one victory. It continues across lives through the people you raise, the examples you set, and the changes you seed. If what I'm saying hits something inside you, if it feels like a recognition, then don't let it become a moment and nothing more. Anchor it into action. Start small if you must. Speak one hard truth this week instead of the comfortable half-truth. Walk into one conversation you might have avoided. Protect one person who is being overlooked. Those micro choices knit your courage into a habit. Over time, habit becomes character, and character becomes influence that cannot be bought or commanded. Before we move on, let me say this: your rise is inevitable because the force that called you is steadier than their fear. They may try to fence you in, but fences break when enough light hits them. Keep your light lit. Keep your steps steady. Keep choosing the path that makes you uncomfortable, because that discomfort is the cutting edge of your growth. If this message moved you, I want to invite you to the next part. There we'll get specific how to build daily habits that armor your spirit, what to say and do in moments when the system tests you most, and simple rituals that help you carry the load without burning out. Subscribe so you don't miss it, and bring one question or one situation you're facing right now. In the next video, we'll use your real life moment as the example, so you leave with practical steps you can use tomorrow. Keep walking. This path is hard because the destination is worth every step. Listen closely. Every pushback you face is proof, not punishment. When the system moves to silence you, that's the clearest sign you're doing something they can't control. They only get loud when they feel threatened. So when doors close, when whispers start, or when people try to make you small, take it as confirmation your light is breaking their script. This opposition isn't random. It's a reaction. You exist in a way that asks uncomfortable questions, and a system that survives on comfortable answers will always fight the questioner. That fight shows where their confidence cracks. Their attacks point straight at the places where your work matters most. The more they try to stop you, the more you should lean in, because their resistance reveals the real value of what you're building. There's something almost sacred in that dynamic. Think about it: a crowd that never disagrees, never changes anything. Real change always starts with a person who refuses to accept the easy story. You were chosen to be that person, to call out the hidden script, to live a life that won't fit into their tidy boxes. That's why they try to shut you down. But you don't have to join their panic. Let their noise be your compass. Let their fear show you where to focus your courage. When they try to silence you, respond in a way that costs them nothing and costs you everything. Keep acting like the person you came here to be. Speak with calm clarity. Move with steady purpose. Actions done in truth are louder than any smear campaign. They are the long, patient kind of victory. The system can flood the short term with lies, but it rarely wins the story in the long run if you keep showing up steady, honest, and relentless. Remember this too: part truth first, opposition proves you're visible. Second, visibility proves you're significant. If nobody responded to your words, maybe nothing would change. And maybe that would be a sign you aren't affecting anything. But pushback, that means ripples are spreading. People notice. The status quo feels you. That's when the real work begins. You weren't sent here to shrink so that others could stay comfortable. You were sent here to create pressure where things are stuck, to open doors where no one thought a door could be opened. Your very presence is a kind of pressure that sometimes makes people uneasy. And that's okay. Let unease trigger truth, not retreat. Let it move people from pretending to engaging. When they see you living differently, some will rage, some will mock, and some will wake up. Your role is to stay steady through all of it. There's a practical edge to this, too. When the system targets you, it's tempting to react with equal force. Shout louder, hit back, let anger rule. That's what they expect. But the sharper tool is discipline. Use the tests they give you as training. Turn every smear into fuel for better work. Turn every attempt to discredit you into an invitation to show more skill, more care, more excellence. Conflict felt that way becomes your classroom. You learn faster, move smarter, and become harder to defeat. Also know that their mistakes are your openings. Systems are built by human hands with human blind spots. They slip, they overreach, they miscalculate. When they do, you gain space. That's not revenge, it's leverage. Use those openings to build something real, a clearer message, a kinder leadership, a practical solution. The system's failed moves become the foundation you step on to create a stronger alternative. Finally, faith and perspective matter. If you believe there's a bigger story than the one they sell, opposition becomes part of a larger narrative. You're not simply battling rules, you're revealing truth. You're not simply surviving attacks, you're refining character. The more they try to bury you, the more obvious it becomes that your calling isn't about being comfortable. It's about being faithful, and faith steadies you when everything else trembles. So what do you do next? Keep walking, keep speaking, keep building, shine without bitterness. When they try to dim your light, make it brighter, with kindness, with better work, and with deeper purpose. Your rise is the answer to the system's fear. If this hits you, there's more waiting on the other side. In the next video, I'll show you 3 practical ways to stay unshakable when they attack, how to turn public pressure into private power, and the daily routines that protect your spirit while you grow your reach. Hit subscribe so you don't miss it. Bring a real question or a real example of pushback you're facing, and we'll walk through it together next time. Keep your head up. The contest you're in, it's already proving you were chosen for a reason. The truth is simple: the very mistakes others make, the moments they think are small slips, are being turned into fuel for your rise. Their losses are not just random accidents. They are divine openings, carved out so you can step in and move forward. Every wrong decision they make, every time they underestimate you, every time they misjudge the weight of your purpose, all of it becomes the ground on which you build your victories. While they scramble to hold their image together, you're moving with clarity, using the energy of their chaos to grow stronger. It almost feels like magic, but it's more than that. It's divine design. Their fear speeds you up. Their hesitation gives you room. Their downfall highlights your resilience. The more they struggle to stand, the more obvious it becomes how high you are rising. You are not a spectator watching from the side. You are an active part of a larger story where their downfall becomes your signal to move forward with even greater force. Every mistake they make is a reminder of how unstoppable you are when you walk in your calling. Each loss on their side is confirmation that you are in the right place, at the right time, with the right purpose. What they see as collapse, you see as the foundation for something new. Their fear of you becomes the very wind that carries you higher. That is why you cannot look at resistance as a barrier. It is a message that you are chosen to break through. The beauty of this divine exchange is in how balanced it is. The harder they fall, the higher you rise. The more they try to silence or dismiss you, the stronger your voice echoes. And as you grow, you don't just rise for yourself. You rise as a light for others who are still trapped in the shadows, showing them that power doesn't come from titles, money, or status. Real power flows from the source that no system can touch, and that source is already within you. Your journey was never meant to be about fitting into their order or accepting their rules. You were made to question, to disrupt, and to dismantle the structures that keep people afraid. That is why you carry this weight so differently than others. Your strength is not ordinary. It shines in the middle of storms, it grows when the fire gets hotter, and it reveals itself most when the system tries hardest to hold you back. As you rise, others will see your defiance as a challenge to everything they built. And they'll be right. You are not just surviving their system. You are dismantling it by living free, by walking in truth, and by daring to be unapologetically yourself. Every step you take shows people around you that they too can choose courage over fear. Your victory is not just personal, it is contagious. It sparks something in anyone brave enough to dream of a different world. So don't shrink back. This is your time to stand tall, to embrace your role as a disruptor, and to know that history is waiting for the mark you will leave. Their mistakes are not the end of their story, but they are the beginning of yours. Let their falls remind you that your rise is inevitable, unstoppable, and necessary. Your calling is bigger than comfort, bigger than fear, and bigger than any wall they could ever build. And if this message speaks to you, stay with us. This community is where chosen ones gather, rebels, thinkers, and builders who refuse to live small. Click, subscribe, and step deeper into the journey. The best is not behind you, it is unfolding right now, and I can't wait to see you walk fully in the power that has always been yours. Welcome to the change. Welcome to the movement. Welcome to the chosen path.